Fox 66 News with Sean Lafferty, meteorologist Tom Atkins, and Jay Pushkar with sports. You're watching Fox 66 News first at 10.
A tough day for union employees at Wabtec, the company that bought GE Transportation, announcing a round of layoffs. Good evening. Wabtec announces they'll be cutting 100 employees out of their Erie workforce. It's continuing coverage at 10 o'clock. The company citing an economic downturn as the reason for the layoffs. According to Wabtec, the decision comes off an extremely challenged North American locomotive market. UE Local 506 president telling us that cuts like this don't benefit anyone.
This contract, gave us the ability to move forward and grow this site, and we'd like to see that occur. And by laying people off this early in the game, you kind of circumvent everything that was done at contract, and we're not interested in that.
Wabtec releasing a statement saying, in part, quote, decisions like this are never easy, but it comes as the result of an in-depth evaluation of the market and how to best position the company for success given today's cyclical environment. Let's turn to weather now. A great fall day today. We're seeing a bit of a change happen this evening. Meteorologist Dan Rupp here now with your Fox First forecast. Still nice out there right now, Dan, but...
Yeah, if you watch the skies this evening, you can see the clouds were building into the region. There's your quick fill weather camera right now, and the storm tracker, here we go, zooming in. And we got the rain showers right there. So those are moving very slow, only about 15 miles per hour to the east, that whole line. So that should be here around 3:34 a.m. 17 mile per hour winds from the southeast, your temperature at 67. Rain showers will be possible, could have some pop-up before that line, but becoming more likely after midnight towards the morning. And still looking at some rain at noon. More details in a bit. Back to you, Sean.
All right, thanks, Dan. A Conneaut, Ohio man is one of 3 soldiers killed in a training accident at Fort Stewart, Georgia. The story's new at 10 o'clock tonight. 6 1st Armored Brigade Combat Team soldiers were involved in the incident when a Bradley fighting vehicle they were in was involved in an accident early Sunday. The soldiers were training in darkness when their armored vehicle fell off a bridge and landed upside down in water. 3 soldiers died, 3 others were injured. Among the dead, 22-year-old Corporal Thomas Walker of Conneaut, Ohio. The Army is conducting autopsies to determine exactly how the soldiers died. Investigators from the Army Combat Readiness Center expect to take up to 4 weeks before giving Fort Stewart commanders their report. A Cathedral Prep senior dies over the weekend while visiting State College. Now an investigation is underway. It's a developing story on Fox 66 News. The incident happening Saturday night on West College Avenue in State College. Today, the Cathedral Prep community mourning the loss of their friend and fellow classmate John, also known as Jack, is remembered for his personality in and outside the classroom. With a wide range of emotions from the students, Cathedral Prep is offering grievance services for those who need them during these difficult times.
Maybe the meaning isn't there yet for the students, but it helps them in our faith tradition to understand that there's a God with them, and this is not the end of Jack's story.
We're still awaiting autopsy results tonight. Currently, no determination or further information regarding the death. An Erie man who pleaded guilty to multiple counts of child pornography is sentenced to 7 years probation today. Peter Wolozanki pleaded guilty to more than a dozen counts of possessing child pornography. The state attorney general's office filed charges against Wolozanki back in September 2018. In addition to 7 years probation, under Megan's law, Wolozanki will have to notify his neighbors that he's a sex offender. A 2-vehicle accident sends 3 people to the hospital and a truck into a home. That crash happening at the intersection of Route 19 and Adamsville Road near Cochranton. Witnesses say the car was traveling west on Adamsville Road and didn't stop at the intersection, crashing into a southbound truck on 19. That impact sent the truck off the road into the front of a nearby house. Both drivers were taken by ambulance to Meadville Medical Center. A passenger in the car was flown to UPMC Hammett. One man is injured after being trapped under a tree today. The incident happening on Fry Road in Franklin Township. According to a firefighter on scene, the man was reportedly logging this evening when one of the logs fell on top of him. His sister-in-law told us that he sustained injuries to his shoulders and a gash on his back of his head. The man was taken to the hospital to be treated for those injuries. Erie's flagship, the U.S. brig Niagara, is covered and docked for the upcoming winter season. Behind-the-scenes work will begin through the winter, though, to maintain the brig for the upcoming 2020 sailing season. Star Bodie has more tonight on what's in store at the dry dock for the brig this winter.
Preparing the brig Niagara for the winter season isn't as easy as you think. It begins by dismantling exterior pieces one by one and preparing her to be shipped to dry dock in Cleveland.
Our last sail of the season was on September 29th, and right after that we start taking the ship apart. So if you look at the ship, there's not nearly as many big pieces of wood sticking out of it and sticking in all the different directions.
Once dismantled at the Erie Maritime Museum, the brig will then make her way up the road to Cleveland by travel lift for further valve and plank inspections. This comes after a busy sailing season.
We went all 5 Great Lakes, and as far as Duluth, Minnesota, and sailed all the way back. We had 126 trainees sail with us this summer, which is a pretty decent number, and finished it off with Tall Ships Erie.
More than 60 people disassembled the brig. It starts by taking down exterior pieces, maintaining and putting them into storage. A week later, crew and volunteers worked together to put heavy pieces of canvas on to cover the ship. Although the brig Niagara is docked for the winter season, that doesn't stop crew members from maintaining her beauty.
We do work on the ship all throughout the winter. There's always some sort of carpentry project that we're working on. This winter, we're probably going to be replacing a part of the waterway timber, which is something seemingly we have to do every year.
The brig Niagara looks to be back on the water for a smooth sailing season in the spring. Star Bodie, Fox 66 News.
Pennsylvania is now one step closer to Sunday hunting for residents in the Commonwealth. This coming after the Senate Game and Fisheries Committee approves a bill that would lift an existing prohibition. Senate Bill 147 would authorize the Pennsylvania Game Commission to decide whether to allow hunting on Sundays. The bill now goes to the House for a vote. Representative Bob Mursky, who serves on the committee, issued a statement tonight saying in part, "With life as busy as it is, Sunday is sometimes the only free day to get out and enjoy nature. Today's action would give Pennsylvanians a much-deserved chance to enjoy the sport they love." The plan to replace a closed McDonald's with a 5-story office and apartment building is getting a thumbs up from potential neighbors. Erie Downtown Development Corporation unveiling the project this weekend. The property has become the latest in a series of purchases made by EDDC along State Street and North Park Row. Among the neighbors watching the flurry of buys are 2 nonprofits, the Perry Square Alliance and the Experience Children's Museum. Officials have both saying they're hoping for a downtown boom like they've seen in other cities.
We're looking for people to come downtown and enjoy not only the parks, but the lovely restaurants and just the overall vibe in the city.
Those are places that are vibrant and full of life and full of activity and safe for families to come down and visit. And so for us, it's a really great thing.
The demolition of the former McDonald's is expected to take about 30 days. It could be as many as 4 years before that new building is up and running. October is Fire Prevention Month, but several firefighters in Pennsylvania say the biggest obstacle they're running into is a lack of volunteers. They hope a package of bills now in the state legislature can change that. Matt Heckel reports tonight.
For our Fire and EMS personnel gathered at the state capitol on Monday in the hopes of reversing a disturbing trend.
A sharp, steady decline in the number of people volunteering to serve as firefighters or emergency medical service providers.
In the 1970s, there were about 300,000 volunteer firefighters in Pennsylvania. Today, that number is down to less than 38,000.
If this trend continues, there may be a day when no one is there to respond for your call for help.
2 years ago, the SR6 Commission was formed to try to find solutions to address these problems. Now, more than 20 bills based on the Commission's recommendations are in the State House.
Many of the bills in this package would establish incentives to make it easier to volunteer.
Those incentives include tuition assistance and college loan forgiveness programs, cash incentives, and property tax credits. Other bills make it easier for fire and EMS services to access loans loans and authorize volunteer fire departments to recoup costs for material and equipment used in emergency response.
Our loved ones, friends, and neighbors are depending on us to take action before it's too late.
And with more than 90% of Pennsylvania's almost 2,500 fire companies staffed by volunteers, supporters say passing these bills is critical.
By doing so, you will help to save one of the oldest traditions in our nation's history, the volunteer fire service.
In Harrisburg, Matt Heckel, Fox 66 News.
4 major drug companies accused of fueling America's opioid epidemic reaching a last-minute settlement ahead of a federal trial. I'm Grady Trimble in Cleveland, Ohio, with more on how that settlement will help communities here heal.
Plus, a head start for new management at one local center dedicated to giving kids an early jump on education. And a familiar tune in the midst of protest. The group comes together to make a young boy smile.
See news happening? Shoot it, then send it to us via Facebook or the Your Erie To Go app on your smartphone. See it, shoot it, send it.
Drive the Outlander Sport with confidence, equipped with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Buy the Outlander Sport for $18,875. That's right, an all-wheel drive Outlander Sport for only $18,875. Only at Interstate Mitsubishi.
At the Lecom Center for Health and Aging, we're your best shot at beating the flu. With convenient locations, flu vaccinations are available to anyone aged 9 to 99. Simply present your primary health insurance card. For a list of locations, visit don'tlettheflubugyou.com.
Why walk when you can fly? Spread my wings and let it ride. Tap into your inner eagle. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Dude, I'm just so pumped we got all this McDonald's at such a great price.
Grab 2 double cheeseburgers and a basket of fries for only $6.
Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, too.
How you been?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm good.
So how's everybody? How's the boys?
Everybody's doing good. Good.
How's work been?
Busy.
Yeah.
Busy, yeah.
Us too. All right.
Choose coverage that brings care to you. Choose Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield.
News is sponsored by Fabens Trailers and Trucks.
For truck caps. For running boards. For tonneau covers, bug shields, rain guards. And the full line of Snow Dog snowplows and salt spreaders.
We'll hook you up.
Fabens Trailers and Truck Accessories. For all of your truck cap and accessory needs. And the full line of Snow Dog snowplows and salt spreaders.
We'll hook you up.
Fabens Trailers and Truck Accessories.
This is Fox 66 News. First at 10.
Coming up, day number 3 for striking teachers in Chicago as they continue to stand on the picket line. That's just ahead on Fox 66 News. Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro announces a $48 billion deal with companies accused of fueling the opioid epidemic. That agreement, in principle, is with 5 companies who either produce or distribute opioids. The deal currently calls for $22.25 billion in cash and another $26 billion for treatment efforts. Each state that signs on to the agreement would receive a share of the cash settlement. Shapiro making today's announcement with the attorneys general from North Carolina, Tennessee, and Texas. A last-minute settlement out of an Ohio major opioid lawsuit could pave the way for future action taken by major drug companies. Fox Business correspondent Grady Trimble has more now on the multi-million-dollar settlement in Cleveland.
4 major drug companies reaching a tentative settlement Monday, just hours before the first federal trial over the opioid epidemic was set to begin. The settlement, reached with 2 Ohio counties for $260 million, will see Amerisource Bergen, Cardinal Health, and McKesson paying a combined $215 million. Israeli drug maker Teva will pay $20 million in cash and supply $25 million worth of Suboxone, a drug that's used to help treat opioid addiction.
We are looking at utilizing this money for treatment and getting people into programs and assisting first responders as they deal with this crisis.
The counties had originally asked for $8 billion, but say the settlement will provide immediate relief to communities hit hard by the opioid crisis.
People are suffering now. People are dying now. We have to deal with these issues now.
More than 2,000 similar cases across the country allege that the pharmaceutical industry pushed widespread use of opioid painkillers without properly warning about the risks of addiction. While this settlement only covers the 2 counties in Ohio, it now leaves more time for drug companies to continue to work towards a nationwide deal.
I hope the people in Washington acknowledge the situations that we have been bearing and pass laws to prevent these actions from ever happening again in this country.
The pharmacy chain Walgreens was also named in the suit, but it continues to defend itself against the allegations and hasn't reached a settlement. In Cleveland, Grady Trimble, Fox Business.
Teachers on strike in Chicago for a 3rd day as negotiations between the city and the teachers union hit a wall. Thousands of classes were canceled again today. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot said on Sunday she wants negotiations to move more quickly so the kids can get back to school as soon as possible. Teachers say their main concern is class size, with some having classes of more than 40 or even 50 students. About 25,000 teachers and 8,000 support staff are now on the picket line. A tornado tears through parts of Dallas last night, causing major damage to homes and businesses. The twister leaving thousands in northeastern Texas without power. Fox News correspondent Casey Stiegel has more.
Thanks to God that we're still alive.
A powerful tornado slamming Texas overnight, ripping through Dallas, causing several buildings to collapse, and leaving at least 110,000 people without power. Strong winds tearing down trees, taking out power lines, and causing extensive structural damage, including to this middle school. The Dallas Independent School District canceled Monday classes at 6 schools. Aerial shots showing the front of a Home Depot store, now a twisted mess of crumpled metal. And take a look at this car flipped on its side right next to the front door of a home.
I'm like, God take care of my kids and my family, because I thought this was it. Like, seriously, I thought this was it.
While no major injuries have been reported, first responders have been going door to door in some neighborhoods to check on residents, some hurt in their own homes.
You could hear like branches hitting the windows and stuff. I thought the roof was going to fall off.
Officials with the National Weather Service say the twister touched down near Dallas Love Field Airport and moved northeast through Dallas, a densely populated part of the city.
I think we should consider ourselves very fortunate that we did not lose any lives.
Staff here at the Home Depot knew that bad weather was on the way, so a decision was made to close the store early. Not long after the building was empty, the twister hit. That is the latest from Dallas. Casey Stiegel, Fox News.
It's pretty scary stuff down there in Texas. Luckily up here, not expecting so much severe weather, just rain showers, maybe some rumbles of thunder, and cooler temperatures. We'll take a look at your forecast in a bit.
At Interstate Mitsubishi, customers are our priority. There's no comparison to the 2019 all-wheel drive Mitsubishi Outlander in safety, warranty, and price. With a 5-year, 60,000-mile bumper-to-bumper and a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, this top safety pick cannot be beat. Buy a 2019 7-passenger Outlander all-wheel drive for only $22,655. That's right, an all-wheel drive Outlander for only $22,655. Only at Interstate Mitsubishi.
Goodness gracious. She doesn't look happy. You know what that means. But what's a hard-working, hard-playing man to do? Why, he should get organized. Get FlexWorks, the most customizable storage system on the market. The durable powder-coated system can easily be reconfigured to fit your space and needs. See how it worked out for that fine man? Wowee! Log on to yourflexworks.com and get yours today.
How do I use Better Than Bouillon?
I just add a spoonful to my marinades.
To stir fries?
Sauces?
Just whisk it in. Brush it on?
Sauté.
It adds a cooked all day taste.
That doesn't take all day.
Better than bouillon. Don't just make it better.
It's dinner time in America, and the breadwinner arrives home from a long day at work. Now the family can sit down at the table, where everyone knows to be mindful of their manners.
Dinner time has changed. Our quality hasn't. Reynolds Wrap. Foil made in the USA since 1947.
Can even the most familiar road you take lead you to unexpected places? Start your story in the 2019 Mazda CX-5 and see where inspiration can take you. Feel alive.
How about zero down, $259 a month for an all-wheel drive Mazda CX-5? And Mazda makes your first month's payment.
From your weather authority, here's meteorologist Dan Rupp.
Hey, welcome back. Filling in for Tom Atkins, Channel Lock weather camera here in Conneaut Lake. Some breezy conditions there in Crawford County, expecting a little bit more gusty winds near the lakeshore. And here's your satellite radar. This is showing some rain showers that probably is not reaching the ground. This is your main line of showers to the west. And I think we should have another radar on. Hopefully we do. If not, we'll have it in the next show. Wind advisory until 6 a.m. Tuesday for the lakeshore areas and for Chautauqua County until 8 a.m. And the colors, we're just looking real good out there. We are at peak season for the colors, for the trees, past peak in New York. So this whole week, great for taking pictures. Here's one from Lisa in Waterford, Pennsylvania. Nice oranges and yellows with that picture. Thanks, Lisa, for sharing that. Enbro at 61, McCain at 65, Northeast 66 degrees, and Corey at 60. We have 62 in Meadville, same with Jamestown, and 59 degrees, Lisa, in Chandler's Valley. Here's your winds right now from the southeast, 11 miles per hour in Youngstown, 17 in Erie, only 5 in Meadville right now. Highest wind gust so far, about 31 miles per hour along the lakeshore. Those could pick up closer to 35, maybe a locally higher gust around 40, closer to the lake. 75 was the high today. Look at the average, it's supposed to be around 59 for mid-October, low of 48 degrees. Sunrise at 7:40 a.m. Weather headlines, still looking at those mild temperatures, and we'll see that until that we'll keep those warmer temperatures until that cold front pushes through with some rain showers, maybe even some rumbles of thunder. Then lake effect starts up behind it, a break on Thursday. Here's a look at the lake forecast for tomorrow. Water temperature at 58, mainly morning rain showers, winds south to southwest 15 to 20 knots, and your waves about 1 to 3 feet. This is an included low pressure system, so very mature stages. Warm sector, some more shower and storm activity to the south. High pressure behind it, lots of dry air. You can see the dip in the jet stream and the low pressure to the north of it, much cooler air indicated by the blues. So your Futurecast, again, I think around 3:34 a.m. is when that main line of showers starts to move through. And maybe even some rumbles of thunder. You can see some brighter colors there. And this is now about 6 a.m. for tomorrow. Still looking at the rain. And then finally, towards the afternoon hours, it should start to taper off. Of course, it will last longer into Warren County. And then you have dry conditions, clouds breaking apart, probably looking at partly cloudy skies. Tuesday night and Wednesday, there's your lake effect. More of a westerly flow, so most of it will probably end up going into the Buffalo area, but some showers may skim the lakeshore. If you're south of this band, I mean, you're looking at a lot of sunshine for Wednesday. And then that tapers off for Wednesday evening, and we get the nice conditions for about 24 hours or so. 52 tonight for the mountains, 56 lakeshore, windy, rain showers likely late tonight after midnight, maybe some thunder, winds 20 to 25, gusts of 35. That's mainly for the lakeshore with those higher wind gusts. Tomorrow, 58 to 62, mainly morning rain, maybe a storm, then partly cloudy. Gusting up to 30 tomorrow night, 37 to 45, just a chance of rain, and those winds not giving up. Here's your 7-day forecast from your weather authority. We have mostly sunny, ending the day mostly sunny on Wednesday, slight chance in the morning with the lake effect. Thursday, partly sunny, possible showers Friday, a chance on Saturday. And Sunday, Monday, still a little uncertain on that. We're going to have to wait for a couple more model runs. But right now, we're keeping it dry, mostly sunny to partly sunny. Find the forecast anytime on our app, your ear to go. Send it to Jay and Sean.
All right, thanks, Dan. Jay Pushkar here now with the first look at sports. The Fall Classic gets underway tomorrow night. right here on Fox 66.
Yeah, it's going to be a great matchup, too. The Nationals in it for the first time. The Houston Astros, they've been there, done that. We'll have a preview coming up.
Doing something you love is never really work. That is what I get here at Presbyterian Senior Care Network. It's so much more than just taking vital signs and passing medications. They become family. I feel like I have over 90 grandparents.
When somebody looks up to you or a family member comes up to you and they're so grateful for all the work that you did, that's why you go into nursing. That's why you do this job, for that feeling of I made a difference.
Learn how to join our team at careerswithheart.org.
My daughter is a ballerina, and I'm so thankful for my Nissan. When I went to Interstate Nissan, the service bay was very clean, the people were very kind, the experience was flawless.
Right now, own a Nissan Altima all-wheel drive for $23,990 and get 0% financing.
Only at Interstate Nissan.
On the next Big Bang Theory.
I'm Alex, Dr. Cooper's new assistant.
Congratulations, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Say hello to Sheldon's little helper.
I'd like to speak to Sheldon.
He's asked me to hold all calls unless you're Stephen Hawking, his mother, or himself from the future.
Say goodbye to Amy's sanity.
What are you doing? I'm spreading my scent to mark my territory.
That is not going to work.
Really? Just before you became my best friend, I did this all over your apartment.
Next Big Bang.
Tomorrow night at 7 on Fox 66. Closed captioning is brought to you by Hurdle and Brown.
When your doctor says physical therapy, choose any of our 5 locations: Fairview, Summit, Harbor Creek, Warren, and the West Erie Plaza. Everything you love about Hurdle and Brown is now in Fairview. Expert physical and aquatic therapy, evening appointments, no referrals needed, now in Fairview.
And now, Fox 66 Sports with Jay Pushkar.
Good evening. The 2019 World Series gets underway Tuesday night from Houston as the Astros battle the Washington Nationals. And while the Nationals are in there for the first time in the Fall Classic, Houston is making its second trip in 3 seasons, having won the World Series in 2017. The buzz going into the series, at least for the first 2 games, is the star power in both pitching rotations. The Nationals will start Max Scherzer in Game 1, and for the Astros, it'll be Garrett Cole.
When you dream as a little kid, you dream about, storybook endings and storybook players and scenarios like that. I feel tremendously humbled to be in this position, and to be asked that question now several times is a little bit surreal.
You just know you got to come out there and you're going to be throwing up zeros, and you got to try to match the intensity from your opponent. And Cole's had a terrific year, so obviously it's going to be one heck of a challenge.
If you sit back and kind of wait for the bullpen or wait for them to make a decision, you'll look at Strasburg and Scherzer throwing 120, 130 pitches, and you'll be too deep in the game to make up a difference.
I truly believe that these guys are fired up to be here. We played a lot of unbelievable games this year. We've come a long way, so I think they're excited, like I said, excited to be here and ready to play.
The 2019 World Series begins tomorrow night, and you can catch it right here and the entire series on Fox 66. Coverage beginning at 7:30 with the pregame show. Then first pitch from Minute Maid Park is just after 8 p.m. The series then shifts to D.C. for Games 3, 4, and if necessary, a Game 5. And again, all those first pitches will take place just after 8 o'clock, so it should be a great series. And Sean, later on in the show, we'll have some District 10 boys soccer as the playoffs are underway on the pitch.
All right, thank you, sir.
Sure.
We'll have a look at today's top stories with your Erie in 66 seconds. Also coming up tonight, under new management.
We're getting an inside look at the former GCAC Head Start program, which is now run by the Child Development Centers.
I just want to make sure that I just do everything I can to just protect him and love him and just, just be the best mom I can be.
Yeah. And with your first, you want to know the doctor because you want to be comfortable with them.
Yeah. I don't want to feel like I'm at a baby factory.
Be like this.
Like, hey.
The fastest growing labor and delivery program in the region is at Allegheny Health Network.
At Rite Aid, we give flu shots to the people we all count on.
Like Sally, who gets our kids to school safely.
Look both ways.
And especially you, because you need to stay healthy for everyone who counts on you. Get your flu shot at Rite Aid today.
At Kaplan's, we have the pots and pans you've come to know, from vintage stainless to today's trending induction cookware, and of course the never-to-be-forgotten American-made cast iron.
If you cook, stop and look, come on out to Kaplan's.
Wherever your journey takes you, across the highways and byways, along the avenues and boulevards, one thing is clear. All signs point to your local Honda dealer. Check out all the latest offers on the award-winning Accord or on a stylish new Civic. Always great selection. Stop by your local Honda dealer or visit shophonda.com.
Come give me a hug. Hi, honey. Hi. So we'll look at these, and as we go over them, I'll just turn them upside down, okay?
Okay.
What day do you fill this?
Usually Sundays.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. This is your thyroid pill. Yep, that's that special one. Let's see, what's this one? Oh, this is that. Let me just make sure that this one is written correctly.
Choose coverage that surrounds you with a team. Okay. Choose Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield.
This is Fox 66 News. First at 10.
Wabtec announces they're cutting 100 employees out of their Erie workforce. That headlines tonight's top stories. Jill McCormick is live in the newsroom now with your Erie in 66 seconds. Jill?
Yes, Sean, Wabtec citing an economic downturn as the reasons for these layoffs. According to Wabtec, this decision comes off an extremely challenged North American locomotive market. The UE Local 506 president stating cuts like this don't benefit anyone. Wabtec releasing a statement saying, quote, decisions like this are never easy, but it comes as the result of an in-depth evaluation of the market and how the best position the company for success given today's cyclical environment. Conneaut, Ohio man is one of 3 soldiers killed in a training accident at Fort Stewart, Georgia. 6 soldiers were involved in the incident when a Bradley fighting vehicle they were riding on was involved in this accident early Sunday morning. 3 soldiers died and 3 others were injured. Among the dead, 22-year-old Corporal Thomas Walker of Conneaut, Ohio. Cathedral Prep senior dies over the weekend while visiting State College. The incident happening Saturday night in the 500 block of West College Avenue at State College. Today, the Cathedral Prep community mourning the loss of Jack Schoenig. With a wide range of emotions from the students, Prep is offering grieving services to those in need during this difficult time. Pennsylvania now one step closer to Sunday hunting for residents in the Commonwealth. This after Senate Game and Fisheries Committee approved a bill that would lift an existing prohibition. Senate Bill 147 would authorize the Pennsylvania Game Commission to decide whether to allow hunting on Sunday. The bill now goes to the House for a vote. Live in the newsroom, Jill McCormick with your Erie in 66 seconds. It's hard to believe, but that's going to be here before you know it.
Yeah, what hunting season?
First day of deer season.
Yeah, I know. Just a month and a week or so away.
You do the math for me. Thank you.
Thank you. For updates on those top stories and breaking news anytime, check out yourerie.com, also Facebook and Twitter. It's new leadership for a multi-million-dollar federal program giving children in Erie County a head start. Tiara Braddock reports.
The Head Start program in Erie County is under new leadership. Since June, the program has been run by Child Development Centers, a Venango County-based organization. This after GCAC officials announced they will no longer be the Head Start provider for the area because the agency did not receive a 5-year grant to run the program.
The kids seem to be a lot more happy. The parents are happy too. I mean, there's some changes, but the staff seems to be like we are a little more supported.
Becky Bucci is a teacher at the CDC's Century Child Development Center, which is housed in the St. John's School building. She says since the CDC has taken over the program, teachers have been able to focus more on students and less on paperwork.
Just a lot of the record keeping, things like a secretary would typically do, the teachers had to do. So we did a lot of that, and now it's kind of off our shoulders, and now we get to do more of our teacher stuff.
The CDC even renovated the classrooms to make them bigger and more productive for the students.
CDC is well known for our quality, our curriculum, and now bringing that to Erie, we know that the children of Erie are going to get that same thing.
Executive Director of CDC, Rena Irwin, says they have enrolled around 700 children since they took over the program in Erie County. Tiara Braddock, Fox 66 News.
More than $1 million is awarded to Penn State Barron students who have a passion for mathematics. The National Science Foundation will support scholarships for juniors and seniors studying math. The students who get the scholarships will commit to teaching for at least 2 years in high-need school districts. The 5-year project will target teacher shortages in developing partnerships with Erie, Corry, and the Iroquois school districts. NSF grants also look to help promote teaching as a career path.
A big part of the teaching crisis that we're in right now is that we're not keeping teachers. And so we're also hoping that our training is going to really support teachers to give them the backgrounds that they need to thrive in these school settings.
100 students will be recruited for the new program. Coming up on Fox 66 News, a local farm known for its fun and fall festivities continues to grow strong. We'll take you out to pork farms after a look at the day on Wall Street.
Jamestown Mattress, where we make the mattress, reminds you you don't need to wait for a sale to enjoy savings on your bedding. You'll never see any sales tricks or gimmicks. Just everyday low factory direct pricing and no middleman. You'll save 20 to 60% off comparable brand name prices. Jamestown Mattress is the region's largest independent bedding manufacturer. We make the mattress. We sell the mattress. We deliver the mattress.
Reliable internet so your world doesn't turn upside down. Turn it around. Switch to Spectrum. And give your family what they deserve. Switch to Spectrum Internet for just $44.99 a month with free modem. Call 1-833-629-4499. With starting speeds of 100 megabits, you'll be able to connect your devices at the same time and with no data caps. Spectrum Internet has the fastest, most consistent download speeds based on the latest FCC report. Verizon can't say that. And with Spectrum TV, you get over 125 channels with free HD and free on demand. Plus, you get the free Spectrum TV app to stream your favorite shows and movies in and outside your home. Switch to Spectrum TV for just $44.99 a month. Call 1-833-629-4499. And no contract. Call and switch to Spectrum Internet and TV for just $44.99 a month each. Spectrum will even buy out your current contract up to $500. Call 1-833-629-4499. Turn your world around. Call now.
News is sponsored by Bianchi Honda.
When you choose Bianchi Honda, you can focus on the road before you. Forget the obstacles and feel the road. Focus on being there, being present. Feel in the moment and feel confident in your Honda. Lease the safe and reliable 2019 Honda CR-V EX all-wheel drive for only $219 per month. Bianchi Honda, your road starts here. BianchiHonda.com.
This is Fox 66 News. First at 10.
Less than 10 days now to enjoy Port Farm's Fall Festival of Fun. Samir Nefsi stopped by the farm to talk to one of the owners who says the farm is continuing to grow.
For 17 years, Port Farms has been growing with activities and attractions, and this year is no exception. The farm wasn't always the attraction it is today. It began in 1897 as a grain and dairy farm. However, the Ports noticed a transition in the farming community and decided the retail and entertainment route would be best.
We started extremely small. We had a 1-acre corn maze. We had, I think, a little tricycle racetrack, and we had a little straw fort.
Port says they've added a little each year, and boy, did they. Now there's more than 35 activities and attractions, from the farm's corn pit to Slide Mountain.
We are trying to do things that mom and dad are going to interact with their teenage kids. So we're getting a lot of college kids here, and it's not just for little people anymore.
And the maze that started out as 1 acre is now 8. This year's design celebrating 50 years of Sesame Street.
We love to see how the farm grows, and we love going up and zeroing in, and it is. It's nice to see things come to fruition that you started.
For your chance to get in on the fall fun, you have until October 31st before they shut down for their country Christmas on the farm. In Waterford, Samir Nefsi, Fox 66 News.
Hundreds of people from all over the country have made their way to Erie for a unique dog show. The Chinese Shar-Pei National Dog Show will be happening all week at the Bayfront Convention Center. Throughout the week, there will be different shows, also seminars and meetings. And not only is this an event showcasing Erie for the participants, it's also allowing local people to have a chance to come down and learn about the breed, learn about obedience and training. And if you decide to make your way down there, one breeder has a little advice.
Don't come up on the dogs real fast because, they're not used to that. They're used to the judge going over them, but, a lot of them want to say, and have the kids run up by them, and that's fine if the dog isn't, freaky. So you just have to kind of watch.
For a full list of events happening this week at the show, you can head to our website, yourerie.com.
And the weather trivia for this evening, a low-level jet going to be found in front of a cold front or behind it, typically. We'll have that answer and your forecast coming up.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Dude, I'm just so pumped we got all this McDonald's at such a great price.
Grab 2 double cheeseburgers and a basket of fries for only $6.
If you're one of the estimated 100,000 people hurt in a truck accident this year, the big question is why? That's what our team of lawyers and investigators will find out. Was it failing brakes? Worn tires? Was the truck overloaded? Was the truck driver trying to make a deadline? Did the truck pass inspection? There are so many questions. At Edgar Snyder & Associates, we'll find the answers and we'll make the trucking company pay. For a free consultation, call 1-800-9-4-EDGAR.
Why walk when you can fly? Tap into your inner eagle. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
Fox Tuesdays.
Blood alcohol is 0.06. This guy is a safety risk to others. I could have stopped him.
The Resident All New, then an all new Empire.
This is our empire, our legacy.
You're 17 years men less to Empire than you do to me. I built this, not you.
The Resident and Empire return with all new episodes after the World Series on Fox.
Why would anyone need access to so many doctors, hospitals, and urgent care centers? Wait for it.
Go, 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 go.
That's why.
Here's the plan for guaranteed in-network access to the top-ranked care of UPMC and thousands of community doctors and hospitals at home. UPMC Health Plan.
From Jet 24, here's meteorologist Dan Rupp, your weather authority.
Hey, welcome back. We'll start you off with a channel lock weather camera here at Conneaut Lake. The winds aren't too bad here in Crawford County, but as you get closer to the lakeshore, winds do pick up. And we have, this is some very light rain showers. Hard to say if it is reaching the ground, but perhaps northeast getting some sprinkles right now. And then a gap before we get to this main line of rain showers that's west of Cleveland. Very slow moving. It's only moving at about 15 miles per hour to the east. So that means it won't be into western Pennsylvania until about 3:30 to 4 a.m. Wind advisory for the lakeshore until 6 a.m. Tuesday. Chautauqua, that one goes until 8 a.m. And we have our colors outside at peak for northwestern PA and actually all of northern Pennsylvania. Near peak farther to the south in Pittsburgh. Great week to go out and take some pictures like this. Barb, Winnie, and Canadota Lake of the fall colors. Jackie's nodding her head. She likes it. And we have weather watcher temperatures 66 in northeast, McCain at 65, Enbro 61, Niagara Pier at 68 degrees, Crawford County 62 in Meadville, Jamestown, Ann has 62, and we have 59 in Chandler's Valley. So still pretty mild out there for this time. Winds from the southeast about 5 to 17 miles per hour. Gusts so far about 31 near the lakeshore, 29 Ashtabula. You can see it all going towards that front, kind of converging there. Around Cleveland. 75 was a high today, 48 was your low. We're supposed to be around 59 for a high. So, man, I hope you enjoyed that nice weather. Sunset at 6:30 p.m. Your weather headlines, mild temperatures for the remainder of the evening. That rain really starts to move in after midnight, and then we see some lake effects start up Tuesday night and Wednesday. But because of the wind direction, most of that rain will end up in New York and around Buffalo area. But, you know, some of those showers may skim the lake shore. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So a break on Thursday before we see our next front. Lake forecast for tomorrow. Water temperature at 58. Winds south to southwest 15 to 20 knots. Mainly morning rain showers. Like I said, waves about 1 to 3 feet. And we have a lot of dry air behind this front. So after the rain, Tuesday afternoon and evening, we should start to see some partly cloudy skies. But there's a little bit of wraparound we'll have to watch there. But things should be mainly dry once we get through this main line. Jetstream has dipped to the south, much cooler air behind that, so your cold front is right in front of that Jetstream. And your Futurecast, rain showers moving to the east. This is about 3:30, so pretty much right about on time here. You can kind of see some brighter colors. That could possibly be a thunderstorm tonight, so there could be some embedded thunderstorms as this thing moves through. And then you get to 6 a.m., still raining when you wake up for the morning, and then finally the afternoon, or late morning I should say, it should start to taper off, mainly for the afternoon hours, and the clouds also break apart. This is 4:30 just about, and you see some partly cloudy skies there, and the lake effect starts up. Notice the wind direction. Most of that is driving the rain showers into New York. And then Wednesday morning, have a very small chance of the rain if one of those showers skim the lakeshore and it falls apart by 4 or 5 o'clock, and we start to see a nice break before our next system for Friday. So tonight, 52 for the mountains, 56 lakeshore, rain showers likely late, maybe even some thunder. For tomorrow, 58 to 62, mainly morning rain and a storm, and then partly cloudy skies. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. If it can show up, let's go. Come on, there it is. All right, slight chance in the morning. We got Wednesday, partly sunny. Thursday, 61, possible showers on Friday. I don't know what it is with that 7-day. It just takes a while to load. Hey, your Erie To Go app is where you can find that forecast. Your trivia for this evening. A low-level jet can be found in front of a front or behind it.
In front of?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we have that wind advisory. National Weather Service is kind of watching that because some of those higher winds could mix down to the surface.
And happens before all the fun comes into town.
Before the cold front Tuesday morning. Yep.
Thank you, sir.
That's right.
Heading back to sports, the D10 boys soccer playoffs begin in the region. Jay has your highlights next.
A 2020 Toyota Corolla LE with an incredible $19.20 in total savings can be yours. Get on the winning team and score this week at Superior Toyota. 2019 Toyota RAV4 LE all-wheel drive with $21.10 in total savings. 2019 Toyota Tacoma SR5 4x4 double cab, $34.93 in total savings. And all new car purchases include 2-year Toyota Care and Superior Advantage. This week at Superior Toyota.
Seriously injured in a car accident? Burger and Green can help. For over 40 years, we've fought the billion-dollar insurance industry to get our clients the money they deserve. The insurance company is not your friend. They're not on your side. Do not give a statement. Do not sign away your rights.
Trust the name you know. Burger and Green, the injury lawyers. Call or text 1-800-999-2626. There is no fee unless you get money.
How you been?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. So how's everybody? How's the boys?
Everybody's doing good. Good.
How's work been?
Busy.
Yeah.
Busy, yeah.
Us too. All right.
Choose coverage that brings care to you. Choose Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Inspiration in every mile. The Mazda CX-5 with turbo. Feel alive.
How about zero down, $259 a month for an all-wheel drive Mazda CX-5? And Mazda makes your first month's payment.
And now, Fox 66 Sports with Jay Pushkar.
Good evening. The opening round of the District 10 boys soccer tournament began on Monday night around the area. We'll start out at Harbor Creek High School. The Huskies entertaining Girard. No score in the second half of play. Huskies awarded a free kick. Justin Hakel hits the crossbar. The match would remain scoreless. Under 9 minutes to go in regulation. Harbor Creek breaks through finally. Scott Stanyard blasts one from short range, and that proves to be your game-winning goal. Harbor Creek holds off a spirited effort by the Girard Yellow Jackets. They advance with a 1-0 final. At Saxon Stadium on the campus of Mercyhurst University, Corey taking on Mercyhurst Prep midway through the first half. Lakers leading 3-0 when Jarrett Harry slips one by for the goal. 4-0 Lakers. Minutes later, possibly the prettiest goal on the night. Aiden Mack with the high bender just under the crossbar. Mercyhurst Prep advances to the quarterfinals with an 8-1 victory over Corey. As the District 10 playoffs are officially underway, the Fairview boys team is one of 3 schools in the district riding a double-digit winning streak heading in. The Tigers completed the regular season with a 16-1-1 overall record and a Region 3 championship to be proud of.
Every year, I preach to the guys and saying, you know, whatever we are doing right now at the beginning of the year, it's probably going to look completely different towards the end, just because they are so versatile and they can play different positions. We got players that were, you know, forward, now they're midfielders, and finally producing and creating for the team. So that's huge.
The seniors definitely play a big role in supporting our teammates. Like, we give them tips and stuff, like help them out. If they're in a new position, we tell them like what we need to do to connect with our teammates to make sure we're playing as a team.
We spend a lot of time in the off season together. You know, we're all friends. We're not just guys playing one season of the year. So we get a lot of chemistry that way. We build it well, and I think it shows on the field.
After having that bye, Fairview will now face Hickory in the quarterfinals on Wednesday at the PIAA Golf Championships at Heritage Hills. In the girls' Class 2A standings after day 1, Northeast's Lydia Swan is 1 shot off the pace with a 4/76. Mercyhurst Prep's Sarah White is on target as well, as she is just 5 over with a 77. Kyra Woods of Hickory is tied for 6th place as well. Over in the girls' 3A standings after day 1, Sydney Yermish leads the way with an even round of 72. McDowell's Natalie Brosick is in contention as she fired a 4/76, which is good enough at this time for 6th place. In boys Class 2A standings after day 1, Cam Colbert of Hickory is tied for 1st place at 1 over par. Isaiah Swan of Northeast is only 1 shot back and in 4th. Meanwhile, teammate Carter Hassenplug is 11 over and tied for 19th. Finally, in boys 3A, Carson Baca fired a 4/67 for a 1-shot lead. In the mix for a state title, though, are 2 District 10 golfers, Evan Rowane of Cathedral Prep and Meadville's Ryan Ferry, both shooting even rounds on the day. They are 4 shots off the lead. In high school football, it's the final week of the regular season for some, and for others, the District 10 playoffs kick off at the end of the week. On Friday night, the Class 6A championship will take place at Erie's Veterans Memorial Stadium between McDowell and Erie High. Despite losing to the Trojans back in Week 5, the Royals have gone through plenty of adversity this season and look forward to the rematch.
There's been so much adversity this year, and the resiliency of these guys has been pretty incredible. You know, we haven't been healthy in weeks, and we've just been playing a lot of young guys, and you know, they're just all sticking together, but they just don't quit.
We've come a long way, definitely, because you could see earlier in the season a lot of more mistakes, a lot of people not playing for the team, but now that we're coming together, we're really becoming a family, and everybody's playing for the same purpose and the same goal, and it's just lovely to see the team coming together.
Once again, the District 10 Class 6A football championship game is Friday night from Memorial Stadium, kickoff at 7 p.m. And we'll have much more on this game on our Friday Night Lights Game of the Week digital preview show. You can check out the latest content this Wednesday evening beginning at 7 p.m. only on our website, yourerie.com. Let the playoff season officially begin with soccer, but everyone's starting to circle the calendar for Friday night with Friday Night Football.
Sounds good. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Appreciate it. Coming up, bringing a smile. One group of protesters cut back on the noise to sing a familiar song and bring a smile to a little boy's face.
It supports you for 8 hours at a time every night after a long day on your feet. Your mattress can make or break your quality of life. But have you put much thought into it? 80% of Americans agree that poor sleep causes difficulty concentrating and increased stress. The local mattress experts at Jamestown Mattress are changing the way you sleep at night with quality, affordable bedding. Jamestown mattresses are handcrafted locally. Stop in at one of our locations to experience the quality for yourself or visit us at jamestownmattress.com.
What I like about the doctors is the fact that they treat you like an adult, not like an old lady, which I am.
I love being 80, and I'm proud of it. So maybe someday I'll need help. But right now, I'm full steam ahead. Who knows, we might live to 100 with the care we're getting.
That's right.
Caring for all of her life. Allegheny Health Network.
Thermo Twin Windows has been providing Erie residents with high-quality, affordable windows for over 40 years. We live here, we work here, and are honored to be chosen to be a part of your home. Thermo Twin Windows takes pride in making your home energy efficient, saving you money and looking great. This month only, receive 40% off your window purchase. Thermo Twin Windows. Employee-owned, Erie proud for over 40 years.
Everything you love about Hurdle and Brown is now in Fairview. Expert physical and aquatic therapy, evening appointments, no referrals needed, now in Fairview. When your doctor says physical therapy, choose any of our 5 locations. Fairview, Summit, Harbor Creek, Warren, and the West Erie Plaza.
Two sisters in Kansas are kayaking when they make an extraordinary find, an ancient bear skull. Ashley and Aaron Watt were taking a trip down the Arkansas River in Kansas last August when they spotted the massive skull sticking out of a sandbar. The skull believed to have been preserved until it was displaced by major flooding this year. Paleontologists not sure if it's hundreds or thousands of years old, but they're hoping to verify that it's the skull of a grizzly bear. Finally on Fox, a young boy in the midst of protesters in Lebanon hearing a familiar and favorite tune. Protesters in Beirut demonstrating against corruption in Lebanon, but when they found a small child in the middle of their protest, they started singing for him one of his favorite tunes. It's called Baby Shark. Elaine Jabor, the child's mother, says his father saw the viral video before she had a chance to speak with him. She says when her son Robin grows up, he'll know that those Lebanese men were fighting for him. We're going to stop the protest and sing to the... That's pretty cool, right. Actually.
Still looks nervous in that car.
Yeah, well, a little. Final look at the forecast.
Hey, we got mainly morning rain showers for Tuesday, 62 degrees, starting to taper off for the afternoon, cooling down Wednesday at 56 with a slight chance in the morning.
That sounds good. If you missed anything, we'll see you over on Jet 24 in 2 minutes. Have a great night and a better tomorrow.